and we have started the stream.
Started the stream.
And
Okay.
I can still hear you.
And can you play a musical thing or two so that we can?
Let me hit the show open and see if that will play.
Bants and
Can you hear that?
Bants.
Yeah, sounds great.
Bants
All
and
right, and I can hear
Bants.
you.
All right.
Bants and Bants.
Well, that's easy.
Bants and Bants.
So, what did you break?
I don't know what broke.
Bants and Bants.
I have no idea. And this is not very loud. Oh, because I have it turned down, that's why.
That's funny. Okay, so we kind of got it ready to go.
Well, we're streaming now. We're live on YouTube.
Yep. All right, so everybody, we're waiting for Mark to show back up. And is this the one that says test stream?
Yes, because I wasn't sure if it was going to work or not. So,
Okay. All right. Did you want to delete those other two episodes?
I'll do it after I'm done here.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I can go in and do it right now.
All right,
Maybe.
we're back. And everything's working.
So far as I know.
What's going on?
Yeah, delete
I don't
those.
know, T-Bone. We're just having some tech issues tonight. T-Bone is here, our tech expert. We may have to work on this because we are live streaming right now, but there's some problem going on with OBS talking to our conference
if you
call
listen-
software.
And if you're listening to this in the future, as I normally say, go ahead and skip ahead about 5 minutes.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be done with this train wreck by that point.
Your monitors seem to be right.
Yeah.
Well, everything's working now, but
Can you send him? Can you send him my direction?
go that way.
I have my own technical.
Yeah,
issue.
he's got his own tech issues. Okay. Well, I will delete those other two.
And I'm back. All right. My technical issue will soon be solved, and I'll even tell everyone about it because my technical issue is more funny. All right. So right now we're waiting on Mark, and hope everyone had a restful weekend. The missus, was your weekend restful?
It was pretty restful up until this tech snafu here. Everything was going well.
So everyone, if
Yeah.
you're playing the home, if you're playing the home version of our game, this means that you have to drink every time we talk about tech problems. So, fortunately, most of the time I think we've done a really good job keeping people sober for the most part on that. So
One can hope.
yes,
Yeah. It's been a while since we've had an open that rough. I don't know what went on there.
it has been ages. I mean, this is the 88th podcast. It still says test stream. Can you change that live? Can you change the title of it while it's live?
Probably.
Why don't you give it a try?
It'll probably just cause the whole thing to crash.
Yeah, but I would call it, episode 88 real stream, and I'd delete the other ones.
I did delete the other ones. Refresh your
Okay.
screen.
I'm not on. I'm on the. I'm on the podcast.
All right, that should do it.
Yes,
That
and
was
that says
weird.
episode 88. Hey, it's perfect though. It shows episode 88, and it shows that someone, poor souls out there, has put up with all this.
You know what it is? We've hit the episode number for the flux capacitor, and now we've traveled back in time.
No kidding. Oh. All right. Well, getting ready to hit the go button shortly. Probably about 3 minutes into the future. Waiting for it. But I'm sounding like NASA. And in about
I
3
know.
minutes.
Hey, this does sound almost as good as Ron DeSantis's Twitter live stream last week.
Thank you, T-Bone. Thank you very much. All right, my technical issue has been solved.
All right. Was it that you didn't have a beer?
No, well, I did, but then I didn't, and that's I'll tell everyone about it. It's not like the best story in the world, but it is a story.
That was not a beer. That's a can of pop, by the way.
No, mine's
As far as you know.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Well, there's your problem. Your host was drunk.
yeah, but no one, everyone's smart enough to not give me any important buttons to push.
That's true. But why that falls to me, I'll never know.
You know, to our greatest doofus, we give our greatest challenges.
I guess so. Yeah. Biggest
Oh,
doofus gets the biggest responsibility.
oh no, I didn't see that. Since it's Memorial Day, we're taking a break from the news and looking at the lighter side of things. I just thought think real fast.
No, think
So
real fast
that's
is fine. We can still do that. That's still
okay.
in the description.
It's still
Because we are going to get serious at the end tonight because it is Memorial Day, so we've got that too.
okay. Well, let's kick off in 1 minute on the theme song, and we'll join back in with Mark when he shows back up into our little world. That's not what I wanted.
Mark may have wisely just walked away.
So, there's a time when you just say,
Hey, there! You know, I say his name and he pops right up.
All right.
All right, Mark, we're counting on you not to make all the audio go away. Everything's working.
all the magic words have come back.
I mean, no pressure or anything, but
Well, you know, you just have to. Every once in a while, you've got to sacrifice a chicken to the computer gods.
All right.
apparently.
All right, let's kick this pig.
Okay, are we ready to go? All right.
Bants. Bants and bants.
All systems go.
Bants and bants.
Defiance.
Bants and bants.
This rebel has a cause.
Bombs and Bants.
We begin as wanderers, and we are wanderers still.
Welcome, everyone, to the fourth time we've started the 88th live edition of Bombs and Bands and Wednesday Rants. As we've hit the 88, our flux capacitor has turned on over, and we've gone back into the past where technology no longer works. As always, I'm your dedicated and humble host, John Wilder, coming to you from an undisclosed location hidden deep beneath the surface of the earth. With me, as always, is Mark.
Hey, how's everyone doing?
And the missus.
You know, I feel like Will Arnett's character in Arrested Development when he does the magic trick and the coffin falls on him in the pit, and he goes, "Something's gone wrong."
Ta-da.
But fingers crossed, yeah, ta-da.
So
I can't feel my leg
this is-
anymore. It's probably blood.
I'm gonna take the full blame for this, even though I wasn't running the console. There's no particular reason that this seems to have happened, but I'm taking the blame for this one. Why am I taking the blame for this one? Because it's just been that kind of damn day. It's just everything has gone off, like a half step, and it's kind of gotten worse as the day went along. So I came down. I did my show prep upstairs, and as I'm coming down here, into the Sanctum Sanctorum, that is the Wilder Base Zero. I sat down, and so I've got a little table right next to the microphone, and on this table I placed my beer because during the show I typically have a beer, not before the show, but during the show.
Does it have
Because
soap in
you
it
know
this
what?
week?
It doesn't have soap in it this week. But I have a boom microphone. And the boom microphone has an arm. And the arm is exactly the height of the beer mug. So I swung the microphone, knocked the beer right on over, and it's like, I spilled beer. And I don't have beer now.
No! It's like that Darth Vader moment.
So it's like, it's like, ah. So anyway, that was my frustrating moment of the day, and I have to ask, frustrating moment. How's the rashogram?
You know, almost better. It's like I almost have normal skin again.
It's, it's like you stopped molting.
Yes.
There is no more molting.
Yeah.
So, so Mark, has your weekend been free from woe and strange occurrences and just slightly irritating technical problems?
No, not really.
Well, what is your tale of woe?
So, well, I I don't know whether it's allergies or if I was coming down with something, but I was like waking up about every uh, hour and a half, Saturday night, Sunday morning, and then I had to go to church early because I have to go to some meetings before our regular church meeting starts. So I was just dragging myself through there. Finally get through with all the church stuff and head home, and then I just slept literally for the rest of the day. So that pretty much shot most of my weekend. Um,
Same with us on
so
Monday.
I guess it's not a technical. I guess it's not a technical problem, but yeah, it was. It was just very irritating.
Well, speaking of irritating, our government's full of idiots, sure, but I'm pretty sure none of them reaches the levels of laziness and entitlement of the Indian politician who ordered a reservoir drained because he dropped his cell phone in while taking a selfie. The
Oh my
world is,
gosh.
yes, the world is one news, has the slowly red hot take.
Rajesh Kumar had gone out with his friends for a picnic to the reservoir where he's believed to have dropped the phone. He then ordered the draining of 200,000 liters of water so that he could retrieve his phone. In his defense, Rajesh claims the phone had sensitive information that he wanted to protect. Rajesh alleged that the sub-divisional officer of the Water Resource Department gave him verbal permission to drain the water. He says that the boss also told him that the water is not used by the farmers, so it can be drained out.
So that guy
Okay,
literally tried every excuse to come up with a good reason why he did what he did. And here's a picture of him. He's the guy sitting under the red umbrella watching the water drain out of the reservoir.
okay. As far as reservoirs go, 200,000 liters. It's about 50,000 gallons.
Yeah, I think he was just wrong on that because I read it was like 2 million gallons,
Yeah, so well,
which still
you
is
know,
not, doesn't seem to me like a lot when we're talking about a reservoir.
it's about 50,000 gallons. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, that's it evaporates.
No, again,
that
that's
much
what he
for,
said in the story, but what I read in the print piece was it was 2 million gallons.
Mark was the problem here that he didn't redeem. Do not redeem.
All right. You asked me what's the problem with the guy, or
What is your take on this wonderful, wonderful story?
it's amazing to me. I was just watching a video the other day on the border conflict between China and India,
As was I.
and discussing the water. Part of it had to do with water issues, and they're talking about
Was this task and
what
purpose?
water problems, huh?
Was this task and purpose?
Yes, it was.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious. I watched the
that's
same
funny.
one.
Yeah, so I mean, he's talking about all the water, the water shortages that India has because it has greater population, that has enough water, and this dolt empties a reservoir.
Hey, again, 50,000 gallons. My hot tub's bigger than that. Yeah,
Again, what good is power if you can't abuse it, right?
Speaking of power,
Let me see if I can find an actual
Well,
answer to
I
this.
mean, I'll be honest. I mean, that looks to me like I'm trying to enlarge the picture so I can see it better. But I mean, 50,000 gallons is like a typical water tower, and that looks like a lot bigger volume. I would have to go with the 2 million gallons is probably more accurate.
Well, it's in India, so we'll never know because they were all crushed under a bus. All right. Well, speaking of power,
Okay, so
dude,
this is yeah, this is like half a million gallons. So it wasn't very much. Maybe they just have small reservoirs in India.
oh, okay, so
Maybe.
half a million's 10 times more than what I
Right,
said.
right.
That's still.
It's like 3 of Oprah's hot tubs. It's not that much. All right.
For a frickin' phone?
Well, if it were Oprah's phone, she'd do it. And she has a really big phone.
Yeah, again,
Well,
this is 2 million liters of water. Okay.
Let's go to. Oh, he said 200,000. 2 million. Yeah, that's 500,000 gallons.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of abuse of power, let's go to our sponsor.
Are you tired of gulping down the sewage fed to you by the mainstream media?
Yep.
Do you feel like you wake up in a strange, crazy world every day?
You betcha.
Do you wonder how Democrats, progressives, and other communists keep buying into the same old lies?
How did you know?
Then what you need is the brand new prescription strength, once daily, Fug It All from Pfizer. With Fug It All, you can dumb yourself down to a level that makes modern life tolerable.
The economy is fine.
I'll buy it.
The border is closed.
I'll buy it.
Democrats are defending our democracy.
I'll buy it.
With new Fug It All, you will rest easy, knowing you'll never have to think for yourself again.
Warning, this drug may produce side effects such as itching, nausea, muscle cramps, continuous bleeding from all of your orifices, a tendency to vote for Democrats, or even sudden death. Some of these side effects may be permanent. If you find yourself questioning if it works or thinking our government might be lying, consult a doctor because that means it's not working.
Take this stupid new world in stride with once daily Fug It All from Pfizer. Gotta get me some of that.
There you go.
I think most of the world just calls it fentanyl. But...
Or alcohol, you know.
Except mine just ran away from me tonight. If you have an extra $5.5 million hanging around, you too could own a piece of Americana. The Brady house from the Brady Bunch is for sale. The original exterior house was used only for exterior shots. The original exterior house. Did I really say that?
Well, it's okay because I wrote it, so that's exactly what it says.
The original house was used only for
He'll
exterior
say
shots
anything I put on the cue sheet. Anything.
Stay classy, San Diego. Well, the interior scenes were shot on a set. But in 2017, Home and Garden TV, HGTV, bought the original house and set about making the inside match the outside.
Turning this 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom house into a functioning replica of the Brady Bunch set is a massive undertaking. Fortunately, this small house has a big backyard, so we can use it to transform the existing narrow footprint into a much longer one, like on the Brady Bunch. We'll build a 2,000 square foot addition with the kitchen and family room on the lower level, and the boys' room, girls' room, and Jack and Jill bathroom on top. And of course, we have to create the famous Brady staircase in this house that never had a full second story. We'll carve the remaining Brady rooms out of existing spaces, including the master bedroom, Mike's den, and Alice's room. But since we can't add any more height to the house without ruining the front view, we'll have to build Greg's attic downstairs in the existing rec room. Just know if we get any of this wrong, we will be put out to dry because all of America will know exactly what this house is supposed to look like. Let's get in there. Let's start tearing this place apart.
So they restored the house.
I'm glad they're going to add an addition because when they were saying they were going to try to match it up, I just had this vision of them remaking it so only midgets could use it.
One-third scale. What is this? A house for ants?
You know, you laugh about that, but we were house shopping one time. This has been like 20 years ago. We were doing this. Do you remember the house for giants that we looked at?
Yeah.
It was a family of very tall people. Go ahead.
So when you walk into the house, right, it was kind of normal until you got to the kitchen. And so, like, the tall cabinets, I'm 6 foot tall. And so the tall cabinets, like the cabinets came to my chest. I mean,
Like the countertops.
The
Yeah.
countertop came to my chest. It was like a good 14 inches taller. So I'm thinking these huge gigantor people living there.
And that was an actual house, so that one does exist. But anyway, they are selling the Brady house for
Yes,
$5
they
million.
are. All right.
Question though, did they put in the awesome carport?
I don't know. And does it come with cousin Oliver? Because no one saw him after that.
Well, no one wants that.
Yeah. All right. If you're over the age
Deal
of 30,
breaker.
which everybody who I'm willing to bet that there might be one person under the age of 30, T-Bone, who listens to this. You probably don't know what a sneakerhead is, but you'll be required to know in order to follow the story. Take notes. There will be a quiz. A sneakerhead is a person who collects and trades sneakers as a hobby, and who is typically knowledgeable about the history of sneakers. Yes, this is what our children are doing rather than real things.
It is. It's a real
Like any
thing.
trend, like any trend, it has its subsets. One of the subsets is sneakerheads who modify existing shoes, and that's where we find 32-year-old New Yorker Andy Martinez. Martinez is responsible for the Nike cowboy boot, which he calls the And E. The Newsbot will explain the rest.
The boots look like something Nelly would wear if he decided to star in a City Slickers remake. They lie at the midpoint between riding the 5 train and riding a filly across the Montana wilderness. They give urban cowboy a new meaning. Martinez says the more people make fun of his creations, the more shoes he sells, and at $650 a pair, he's bringing in some real hay. He hand stitches each pair, melding Nike Air Force Ones with boots he purchases at a nearby Western wear store. It takes him about 3 hours to complete one pair.
So yes,
Okay.
that monstrosity that you see before you, and that's the guy who makes them in the picture, sporting a pair, and they look about
Okay.
yeah, I know, $650 for a pair of those puppies.
I want one. No,
You know,
I don't. Don't.
I know that sounds like a lot of money, but if he's using boots that he picks up at a Western wear place, he's got to be picking up really cheap boots, because
Yep.
real cowboy boots are
He is,
expensive.
yeah. He said he was spending about $150 a pop for
Oh
the
my
boots,
God.
and then about $200 on the sneakers. And so, at $650, he's making a couple $100 a pair. So
Yeah.
So he's got himself a job.
yeah, exactly. Hmm.
All right. Okay. Well,
Huh?
at least it's better than, No, it's not. It's not better. He's not making society better. This is just awful. Okay.
Well, it's a weird thing. Like I said, I've met like one or two people who are sneakerheads, and it's really kind of a weird thing. I mean, they're very fastidious about their shoes. I would guarantee that if we look in any of our closet at our tennis shoes are grubby. They probably have holes in them. We've had them for a while, right? Sneakerheads, not the thing. They have immaculate shoes, and I don't understand that.
They're simply marvelous.
Yeah.
Well, Americans enjoyed the long weekend with sneakers. The British were doing British things, like rolling giant 7-pound wheels of cheese down a hill. Now, you may think that sounds like a tame form of entertainment. I assure you it's not. The woman's winner managed to cross the line completely unconscious. Let's see the video.
So watch the woman who is at the extreme right here, coming down. She's running, and then BAM! And rolls half dead across the finish line. I know, it's mean to laugh at her, but okay. So she was a 19-year-old from Canada named Delaney Irving, and says what she remembers is running, bumping her head, and then waking up in a tent. And I read that, and I was like, that sounds like our first date, John Wilder. But like me, she says it was totes worth it. So here's a close-up image of the men's race. Here's a close-up of them coming down the hill. Apparently it's a hill that's difficult to walk down, and most of them just run down it.
Oh man, I see compound fractures everywhere.
Yeah, well, I was
All
there's like a documentary about this thing because they did it. They do it every year. They haven't done it for the past 2 years because COVID, but it's an annual thing, and people do frequently get hurt. I mean, one of the women's champs who's won it twice was doing the interview, and she's doing the interview, and it's like her collarbone is poking straight up, like not out of her skin, but like she broke her collarbone one year and then didn't get it set properly, so it never healed right.
And then with the British teeth.
Yes.
Okay.
I still good fun then.
All right. It's almost like they
Well,
got
that makes me feel good about their National Health Service.
it's almost like they got hit by a depth charge.
Man, you know, I used to watch these.
That was a segment.
These. Oh, I was just gonna make another comment about the British National
please
Healthcare.
do. Please do.
So I used to watch these emergency room shows, right? And sometimes they'd be in the U.S. and sometimes they'd be in the U.K. And of course, the difference between the two is that you have to pay your own bills in the U.S. and the government pays for it in the U.K. The big difference I saw was when people would come in with dislocated shoulders. So in the U.S., you come in, your shoulders popped out of the socket, they put you to sleep and then pop it back in because it hurts like hell, right? In the U.K., they basically just give you a wooden spoon to bite on while they snap that sucker back in. They do not give you pain medicine for it when they do it. Because they have to...
Like,
you know, yeah, I know, right? Okay, what did you say now? It was almost like a what?
They got hit by a depth charge.
It seems like every podcast nowadays is selling one thing. Coffee.
Coffee.
Yes.
Sweet, nourishing coffee.
And we here at Bombs and Bants and Wednesday Rants have come up with our own special depth charge coffee. How do you like your coffee?
I like my coffee like I like my humor.
How's that?
Dark and involving child labor.
Excellent. Science has shown that if you replace your morning coffee with green tea, you can remove 73% of the joy in your life. So that's why I suggest using Depth Charge Coffee. There's an entire book in the Bible about husbands making coffee. Did you know that?
Yeah, it's called Hebrews.
I got to tell you, folks, these are old coffee jokes. So you might have a sense of deja vu going on right now, but that's just what we want you to have with Depth Charge Coffee. We even have a new CIA brew, which might keep you up at night.
Or it might just be the drugs they're putting into it.
Our coffee is
probably the drugs.
It's probably the drugs because our coffee is so strong, it's guaranteed to show up on a company drug test. Our coffee is so strong, it's guaranteed to show up on a company drug test.
That's easy for you to say. You had to say it twice. It's so good.
Yes. And here at Depth Charge Coffee, we don't ship whole bean coffee.
We only ship ground, just like UPS. So get yours today. It's the best coffee on the market. Look for it in a coffee store near you or at www.thisisnotarealproduct.com. It's called
Depth Charge Coffee.
From Bombs and Bants.
Oh my. That's something people might actually buy. Because everyone sells coffee nowadays.
I know. Everyone does.
Boy, that's been a while since we put that together. When did we put that together?
Do I really need to look? I mean, because I can.
No, I wouldn't worry. All right. We don't have a Jackass of the Week, so I deem it Justin Trudeau this week. So, ready for Think Real Fast?
Maybe.
Think real fast.
Sky News is reporting that the UK Royal Air Force is no longer recruiting useless white male pilots to enable the RAF to reach diversity targets. Mark, why are only Pakistanis good enough to die for England?
Because they're cheaper to educate.
The missus, do you think that President Xi will put a pause on the recruiting of Chinese males in their Air Force?
I thought that went the other way. I thought that they wanted all the Chinese males to come over here and to be in our armed forces so they could,
Steal stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
But what actually happened is the UK Royal Air Force actually dismissed hundreds of white male pilots to meet diversity quotas in 2021. Those pilots got big dollar jobs by teaching the Chinese Air Force instead. And the UK wasn't happy about that. Turns out the Chinese don't care about skin color of who flies their jets. Shocking. Ghislaine Maxwell is living in constant fear of revenge by two violent Cuban inmates who tried to extort her. She ratted them out, and they've been in the hole for 47 days. Mark, is this a fair way to treat a Mossad agent?
Yes. Yes. Actually, I wonder if it'll be, if they'll like come out and go crazy and jump across the food table and kill her.
That she does look good in orange. The missus, shouldn't she have known better since blackmail was her business?
But people who do that thing never think it's going to happen to them. I mean, you look at all the let's just take, for example, I don't know, the entire city of New York. Sanctuary city, everyone's welcome here. And now they're wanting to suspend their own law so they no longer have to take all the immigrants that are coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, we can't do this. We can't handle 70,000 immigrants in 6 months. Oh, but Texas should be able to handle 11 million a year? Or however many it is. I mean, it's a lot. 2 million maybe? I don't know. Let's count.
Yeah.
But it's more than 70,000.
Yes. Speaking of spooky, though, NASA had a conference today to say that, spoiler, they don't know what UFOs are. Mark, do you think that NASA will announce that alien life is detected the same day that proof of Biden being bribed hits the news?
Well, it depends which part of NASA reports it to. I'm sure that Houston encounters aliens all the time.
All right, Holmes. All right, the missus. Do you think that instead of aliens, it was actually Russian collusion?
Clearly that's what it was. I mean, everything in the past, 6 years has been Russian collusion.
Well, I guess that's the way. That's the way that UFOs and Russian collusion are the same. Everyone seems to have heard about it, but no one can actually find it.
Right.
All right. Speaking of which, FBI Director Wray confirms the existence of the FD-1023 form, alleging that then Veep Biden engaged in criminal bribery. Mark, is it really bribery if Biden really wanted the money for a new pair of pants?
No, by definition, it can't be bribery if it involves Biden. Bribery only involves Republicans.
There you go. The missus, do you think Hunter spent all the money on hookers blowing rehab?
Well, there's another thing that's come out about this, too, that perhaps Joe and Hunter were sharing a credit card that Hunter used to pay for hookers. So that could be embarrassing, too.
James O'Keefe is still out at Project Veritas. The company is worth exactly zero without James O'Keefe. The Veritas response? To sue James O'Keefe over being mean to some Project Veritas employees. Mark, why are employees so spineless nowadays?
I think it's because they're pampered too much. When people had to work bent over for 13 hours a day in a coal mine, they had a lot more respect.
Well, you appreciated being able to stand up. I'm just saying.
If only we had Ghislaine Maxwell working in a coal mine with NASA. And Director Wray.
Then they'd be surrounded by underage aliens. Come to think of it, maybe they were.
How much Keefe is enough?
There's never enough Keefe.
No. How much Keefe is enough?
That doesn't make any sense because the answer should be Miles O'Keefe, but...
There you go. It is Miles O'Keefe. That's enough. China is drilling...
How much Keefe is in this podcast? Miles O'Keefe.
Yes. China's drilling a nearly 33,000-foot hole into the earth. Mark, will the Chinese go to any lengths to look for strange things to eat?
Apparently.
The missus,
Oh shoot.
is it racist to talk about a Chinese hole?
Racist? I don't know. It's probably underage though, so be careful.
Vancouver joins New York in wanting to ban natural gas. Mark, why must they insist on coal-fired houses?
Uh, because Democrats still live like back in the 1800s.
The missus, will they take your central heat and natural gas-fired hot water heater when they pry them from your cold, dead hands?
Yes, exactly. Now, what they want to do is they just want to cover the Midwest in the big windmill farms.
Mm-hmm.
Because no one lives here anyway, right? No one lives in the big square states in the West.
Except birds.
No, that's overblown. I mean, it's only
But
big.
big.
It's only big birds like hawks and ravens and big bird from Sesame Street that fly into those and are killed.
There's big square states between the Rocky Mountains and the Jersey Shore.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, there are square states between the Rockies and the Jersey Shore. What are you talking about? Okay, maybe they're rectangular.
And that was a real fast. Think real fast because we're out of them.
Are we done? Okay.
Think real fast.
Okay. And that was courtesy of Just for Today. We'll have one more thing left on tonight's show. And that is since Memorial Day was a couple days ago. This is our show where we we'll get a little bit serious for a second. And do you have your copy in front of you?
Yes, I do. But we also have our intro music.
Oh.
Oops. That's the wrong thing. Okay, hang on. There we go. So there's our hero music. And we have that because it is Memorial Day.
Could you read it up to the line starting with the coalition? Because that didn't print on mine.
I didn't print on mine either. I think maybe I just got a little sloppy. Because the person we're talking about tonight is Medal of Honor recipient Staff Sergeant Robert J. Miller. And here is Staff Sergeant Miller's story. He was stationed along the Afghanistan-Pakistan border. Their mission was to confirm enemy forces were in a specified compound and help get Air Force bombs on the target. Do you want me to continue, or would you like to read?
I can continue.
Okay.
The coalition was moving toward the suspected building through a narrow valley. When they got close enough, there was a boulder that couldn't be moved by ordinary means. Staff Sergeant Eric Martin recalled, "We'd come to a stop again, and we had to come to a stop again and blow that boulder. I believe that's where when the enemy was tipped off. As the coalition was maneuvering into position, they started taking enemy fire. According to Martin, there was nothing unusual about the fight until bombs started dropping and the coalition fired heavy weapons at the compound." Martin said Miller was always prepared for a fight and had packed heavy firepower that night. As the fight got within 50 feet, the coalition leader, Captain Robert Cusick, was wounded immediately, and Miller became the commander. Cut off from supplies and less than 20 meters from the enemy, Miller called for his men to quickly move back to cover positions as he charged the enemy over exposed ground and under overwhelming enemy fire in order to provide protective fire for his team. While maneuvering to engage the enemy, Staff Sergeant Miller was shot in his upper torso. Ignoring the wound, he continued to push the fight, moving to draw fire from over 100 enemy fighters upon himself. He then again charged forward through an open area in order to allow his teammates to safely reach cover. After killing at least 10 insurgents, wounding dozens more, and repeatedly exposing himself to withering enemy fire while moving from position to position, Staff Sergeant Miller was mortally wounded by enemy fire. His extraordinary valor ultimately saved the lives of 7 members of his own team and 15 Afghanistan National Army soldiers.
So, a true hero there, Staff Sergeant Robert J. Miller, this Memorial Day. He was 25.
Indeed.
He was 25 years old.
Indeed, and that's probably worth a silent out for Bombs and Bants and Wednesday Rants. I'm John Wilder.
This is Mark.
And I'm the missus. Hope you had a good Memorial Day, and we'll see you next week. Y'all come back now, you hear?